Welcome to the Rebellion Brewing Podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Barton. Today we're talking with Taron Cochrane, a Regina-based polymath and music guru who seems to have endless energy and a million projects on the go. He sneaks song lyrics into political speeches, freelances for the Leader Post. He's hosting TEDx at the RPL in March, and you may know him from his role with Gateway Music Festival or the Revival Music Room. And last but not least, you can find him in the Rebellion Taproom hosting Music Trivia Bingo. Taron, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. That was quite an intro. I'm going to have to Google polymath, but no, I appreciate it. Those are some kind words. Thank you.
I ran out of runway room to include all the things that you do.
No, I know, it was crazy. I was thinking about it last night, and I started to overwhelm my brain. But it's exciting. It's all fun stuff. I mean, working with Rebellion, Revival, all these things I get myself involved with, it's all, I do because I love it. You know, and when you love something, much like brewing beer, when you love something, it's not really work. You know, it's just an extension of who you are, and it gives me an opportunity. It opens doors. I get to meet great people. I get to drink great beer like we are now, and so many other things.
So let's start off with the thing we love, which is beer.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll taste that, and then we'll get into the interview.
Sounds good.
So what we're drinking today is our Rebellion Blast Off. It used to be known as the Blonde Ale, but we recently relaunched it. We named it Blast Off. It's got a fancy golden robot on the label. People just, they love it. Like I never realized that it would resonate so well with people, but here we are.
Well, I find that this beer, and I've always been a big fan of Blonde, back in the day when Rebellion actually had the parking lot party with live bands, Rebel Heart Music Fest a couple summers ago, Mark had tapped a keg of Blonde, and I said to myself at that time, I might become an alcoholic for this stuff. Like, it's so incredible. But that was, and Blast Off too, that we were talking earlier about how the artwork really draws people in. Like a good album, you know, you got these great songs, how are you going to get them out there? People had to, at one point, before the internet and before singles, they had to draw people into the artwork. You'd flip at it through CDs at a store. Similar Rebellion, it's eye-catching, right? And then when people notice it and they go, I'm going to try that, and then they drink something like this, they go, it stands up, you know?
What are you tasting? What do you like about the beer? When you take your first sip, what are you thinking?
Well, I love the fact that Rebellion beer, to me, it always comes across as fresh. I've never had what they call a skunky batch. You know, there have been times where I have bought other corporate beer and it's given me raging headaches because of too much air in the can or whatever it may be. Like, there was always some inconsistency. So it was always a gamble. Buying beer was a game of chance. But with Rebellion, you know what you're getting, and you're always getting high quality, because I know the beer is good, such like this Blast Off, but then I know the people behind it are good people too.
Okay, thanks. We appreciate it. How I describe it is, when I grew up, my dad had Pilsners kicking around, so you drink a Pilsner, and I always felt it had a very metallic taste.
Yeah.
And that always kind of put me off, and I said, I don't like Pilsner. I don't get this style. I don't dig it, but that's because I only drank one Pilsner in my whole life, and I was really disappointed by it.
Yeah.
And then Mark came out and he said, we're going to brew an old style Pilsner. And then we're going to brew this blonde, this Blast Off, and it's our take on a Pilsner. I'm like, oh, wait, I don't dislike the Pilsner style. I just dislike that one Pilsner beer. So one of the takeaways I often say to people is, maybe you think you've had a Pilsner, but you haven't had all the styles of Pilsner. Come back to it and try it again. You might discover something new. And with this, I find it doesn't have that off-putting metallic taste that ruins it for me, and I don't want to drink it anymore. It's like, oh, it's refreshing, and I can take a second sip.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%. Well, it kind of makes you feel like that old-style Pilsner with the tinny metallic taste to it. That's the stuff you drank in high school to get, like, plastered. You know, that was the stuff that was cheap and affordable and that your dad pulled for you. That was the stuff you drank. But I think now, as grown men, professional young men, we
professional,
right? You want something with quality. And if I'm going to make a special trip on the weekend, I made a special trip to the liquor store, you know, to get some lentil, because I want quality. I don't just want, you know, some flavored water that I can just shotgun. I want to go out and I want to have a cup of beer. I want to have a cup of beer at home that are just quality, not quantity, right?
Oh, well, thanks, man.
Yeah,
we appreciate it. When you take your first sip of Blast Off, what is it you're thinking? I mean, have you tasted a beer like this before? Or is it something all new to you?
I mean, I've obviously got, and I'm not by no stretch of an imagination, a beer expert, but it certainly has elements of a Pilsner and something light, which I like. I'm not and I'm gonna probably get tarred and feathered for this, but I'm not a fan of IPA. I don't like that sourness to it. I just like a good, clean, refreshing beer, and that's what I want. Whether it's after a long day of work, a hot summer day, just hanging out with buddies. It's a type of beer that when you have one, you're actually looking forward to the next one while you're having your first one. You go, I can't wait to have another one. Or hoping in the back of your mind, do I have any other plans? Do I have any other commitments? Because I don't want to commit to them right now because I just want to sit here and drink this beer.
Because you're thinking about having a second.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think one of the metrics that we talk about often is, would I have another?
Mm-hmm.
In terms of tasting beer, we often say, okay, you had one. Are you done with it?
Yeah.
Or, would you have a second? And if the answer is, I wouldn't have any more of this and I would never drink it again, then the beer fails the test. One of the things that drives us is, I'd have a second.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can say yes to the second, then you got something on your hands.
Well, I think too, what I love is that the fact that you guys you can give people samples, right? When they come to the tap room, you say to yourself, rather than commit fully, I'm going to have, a pint of IPA or a pint of Blast Off or a pint of Amber Ale, whatever it may be. People can try it first. So try before you buy, which I think is a great philosophy, because otherwise you commit fully and then you regret what you've gotten into if you don't enjoy it.
We also have the sample tray.
See, yes,
People
exactly.
grab 6 of their,
which is awesome.
of whatever they want.
Yeah, and pick your favorite. That's a way to do it. I mean, it's giving people that variety and giving people the option, and the choice, I think, is an important thing. I know with Rebellion too, one of the things I love about that philosophy of would you have a second is you guys and gals have done an amazing job of having an atmosphere where I want to sit and have a second. The music you play is incredible. You play such a wide variety from rockabilly to punk to old traditional country. The music keeps me there. The atmosphere keeps me there. There's pinball, there's cool graphics on the wall, it's nicely lit, it's conducive to like a good conversation, it's not too loud, it's not overbearing. It's just a nice, comfortable atmosphere. And I think that's one of the reasons I certainly go there.
The music that you love informs you wanting to stay?
Yeah, well, for me, I mean, having a good beer, music is obviously the soundtrack to our lives, but it affects our emotions and stuff. But if I can sit, I just went to the tap room today and I heard the Ramones in the span of 5 minutes. And if the next song coming up is Hank Williams and then the next one is maybe some Stray Cats or whatever it may be, that makes me want to stay there because I really enjoy it. And I think that's part of the draw for the Your Music Sucks Music Trivia Bingo Nights we hold. Not just the fact that they're in support of music heals and music therapy at home here, but the fact that people come for the atmosphere, for the drinks, and for the music. Getting a good buzz and stuff is secondary to just having a really good time. One of the things I love is you can tell that Rebellion cares, and you can tell that the people working behind the scenes and in the brewery and all the way to your sales, to your staff, everybody cares about the product you're putting out because it's important. It's important you're not in business for the sake of being in business. You're in business to make a difference. And I think that comes across with the things you guys get involved with, your community support, the beer you brew from Blast Off to the Lentil to the Ambers, and I guess the IPAs too.
You're involved in a million projects within this community. Where can people find you? Where can they see you doing?
Oh, yeah. So normally during the day, I run my own company, Taron Cochrane Entertainment, doing publicity and promotion, working in the music industry. During the day, I'm also manager of communications and marketing communications for the Regina Downtown Business Improvement District. So during the week, you can find me downtown, roaming around, as well to promoter for Revival Music Rooms. I'm usually there, off and on the weekends, as well to promoting Gateway Festival. So hopefully get out there this summer. I'm going to be a dad coming up very shortly.
Well, you're in trouble.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, round 2. But I'm excited. And yeah, so I'm around town. Online, you can find me on Twitter, on Facebook, Instagram. I'm pretty active on there as well too. But yeah, I wear a million different hats, but it's all stuff that I've enjoyed doing because I get to meet great people and do great things.
One of the things we kind of noticed with you is your involvement with local.
Mm-hmm.
Our interest, often local.
Absolutely.
Local music.
Yeah.
What should people be checking out?
Oh, wow. Well, I tell you, there's so many local artists. At one point, a couple years ago, there was over 300 active musicians and bands performing. You look at some of our flag wavers that are doing international successes like the Dead South, Coulter Wall, Andy Schaaf, who everybody knows and has probably heard of at this point. You have other artists coming up. Blake Berglund, Belle Plain have been doing amazing things. Megan Nash just signed with Acronym Records for their reincarnation of the label, and she's on her way over to Germany. Megan's incredible too. It's funny though, because all these artists that are topping charts and that have massive sales, Jess Moskalukes and your ones that are getting gold records, Sheepdogs. But then you also have these artists that, I have a guy that lives a block down from me. His name is Murky Waters. He's a hip hop producer, and he just put out the most incredible album last year with a project with Christian Moya of Andino Sons called Learners. Where he gets all these musicians from around town. He has a Spanish guitar with Ramsey Calderon, John Nair on the keyboards, and John's involved in a lot of projects. But it's just so fascinating that you start peeling back the layers, and there's so much amazing music of all genres. There's Pimpton for hip hop. There's, like I said, Blake and Bell for country. There's Coulter doing amazing things. Steve Earle called Coulter Walden the greatest artist he's heard in the last 20 years, which is incredible. But I think too, locally, start digging deep and get involved, whether it be with Sask Music, check out their music playlists they have online, or follow them. Just asking around, checking out shows. Come to Revival and check out shows, whether it be a cover band in town with the local opener, which we try to do a lot, or just a touring band with a local opener, or a local opener celebrating, an album release, an album fundraiser, whatever it may be. There's so much. I firmly believe, and I have believed for almost 10 years, that the music made in this province is some of the best in the world. And people are realizing that now too. The Dead South, they're in Hell I'll Be in Good Company video, which was directed by Zach Wilson from Regina, has over 47 million views. We've been telling people, myself and other people involved in the music community, the Dead South are one of the best bands going. And now the world is going, yeah, you're right, they are.
It looks like they're having fun.
Oh, they are. And that's the thing about Saskatchewan music is, and kind of going back to what I talked about Rebellion earlier, was that it's not just, exceptionally talented musicians making this great music. They're really good people too. And that holds up so much. Tennille Arts from Weyburn, a country singer-songwriter, she signed down to a publishing company in Nashville. About a month ago, she played on The Bachelor, performed on ABC The Bachelor. She's doing phenomenal. Yet she's never too big to not come play like the Weyburn Rink. Same with Jess Moskaluk. She'll go back and play the Langenberg Hall. Dead South will come and play a show in like the smallest of towns. Sheepdogs, I can't remember what the small, I think not Creelman, but Sheepdogs actually just came and played like a really small town, like population 75, because that's a Saskatchewan spirit. And whether it's brewing beer, making music, or whatever it may be, I think that our humbleness at times pays off, because we're not too proud to, well, I'm not going to do this podcast with Matt because I'm far too important doing a music trivia night at Rebellion, right? You know what I mean? Like, so I think it lends itself nicely, and I think that I love the fact that you can have the Dead South taking over the world, and people meet them and go, wow, they're really nice people. And it's like, of course they are. They're from Regina,
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a very cool thing.
Final takeaway.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you a little bit about Music Trivia Bingo.
For sure.
The first time I met you, like really, really met you, was at Music Trivia Bingo.
Yeah.
And it felt like a great time.
It was fun, man, yeah. Well, the actual event itself, too, is like we throw prizes at people. We have Chef Malcolm's homemade pies we throw at people. We throw just random things. We talk about music. We do speed rounds. We play music. I encourage people to boo people that win because they're taking their prizes. You just want to have fun. And it's been a really great, sitting down originally with Mark and Jen to kind of talk about the inception of it and how we're going to move forward and stuff we can do. And we always meet up and just talk about like, what can we do differently next time? What can we do better? What can we improve on? It's great. It's a really fun time because that's the whole premise of it. We just want people to come out and have a great time.
And it also is for a good cause.
Yes, Music Heals. So Music Heals Canada, they've been around for 5 years, raised $1.1 million for music therapy. Collectively, in Saskatchewan, I've been involved for about 4 of those years, and we've raised, now it's Rebellion, it's myself, it's the Wolf 104.9 FM, it's Queen City Rocks, the Battle of the Bands event they have. It's a lot of different people and a lot of different arms. We've raised $10,000 in 4 years for local music therapy.
That's fucking awesome.
It's super awesome. Music Heals, I met up with Chris Brandt, the executive director. He used to work for Universal Music for like 20 years, and I bumped into him by chance and just trying to get more involved and realizing when the Junos came to town, excuse me, that this is something that's so important, but they didn't really have a Saskatchewan reach, or they didn't have any way to get in touch with people from Saskatchewan. There wasn't much momentum going on here. So when I have time and when I have the chance, I try to get them involved as much as I can. And it's been fantastic. Man, I've seen where the money goes. There's the SCEP Center in town here, which is a program created for kids with learning abilities and behavioral issues, and using music therapy to actually help them cope and help them succeed in life. And just going and sitting in a room and watching a music therapist just calm down kids, you know, and get them in the right state of mind. It's unbelievably heartwarming, 100%.
That's awesome, man. Well, I want to thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks so much.
I invite the Rebels to join us next time when we'll be talking with Chef Malcolm Craig. He makes delicious, traditional homemade English pies that stick to your ribs and taste amazing. He's a genius when it comes to pairing food with beer, and now you can find his breakfast pies on the Rebellion Taproom menu every Saturday. That's while supplies last, so if you're too late, you can't get a taste. If you want to find the latest news about the Rebellion Brewing, be sure to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Untappd. And once again, thank you for joining the Rebellion.
Always got what you want.